Welcome to the Italianpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Pietro Ferracini, a startup founder with a passion for practical knowledge. Join me in weekly conversations with young and experienced entrepreneurs where we learn from their mistakes. In the third episode, you will hear about the struggle of personal branding and lead generation. I'm very excited to share with you this amazing conversation with Katinka. She will shine a light on stress management, personal leadership, as well as female entrepreneurship. Please welcome Katinka van Kan. She's a female entrepreneur that has successfully channeled her passion for helping others into a profitable business. Katinka founded Vankan Coaching, where she helps students and startups find a balance and help them channel their energy towards the right path. And she also has her own podcast called the Student Life Podcast. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, very happy to be here. I'm excited to thank you for that beautiful introduction. Actually, it's awesome to hear you say all these wonderful things about me.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy you're happy. So, first things first. Where does this podcast find you? Where are you right now?
Oh, okay. I was thinking about the question. I am in Maastricht, so in the Netherlands, all the way in the south, where we met, where you usually study, but not this year. We had to say goodbye to you for a year.
Exactly. I'm here in Bordeaux, in a different part, still in Europe though. So let's get started with more of a personal question. So what kind of student were you back in high school? Were you the best student, the average kid, the one that does enough to pass, or were you the kid that constantly struggled to go forward?
I think I was the third option. I have a very interesting high school story. So I'm dyslexic, which you might know, because we also recorded a podcast episode about that. But yeah, so that came out when I was in the second year of high school. So I finished elementary school with very high grades and very good. Here in the school system, we have different levels. And they really wanted me to go to the gymnasium, so the highest level. I didn't really was interested in that, but fine, did it anyways, and I failed miserably because we didn't know I was dyslexic yet. I didn't have the diagnosis, and I was studying Dutch, English, German, French, Greek, and Latin, and that was just a total disaster. So then they put me 2 levels lower in the second year. The school didn't want to pay for a test to get me tested for dyslexia, so my mom fixed that. Dyslexia came out of it, and then already I was on the HAVO, so like 2 levels below where I started. And that meant that I was actually doing pretty great, but also a very dramatic student. So I didn't have to do a lot to pass my exams and to pass my tests, especially with the diagnosis, because then they could take dyslexia in account. But I also didn't want to do anything anymore. And I just half of the time was not in school. Obviously, I'm Dutch, so started doing the things that Dutch kids do. And even in my final exams in high school, like the day before my math exam, I discovered I didn't even have the book. I forgot to order the book in the beginning of the year. So I wouldn't call myself a very good student, but I did pass with high grades. And so I did well in that. But not all the teachers were very happy with me. I think
All
you can say
right.
that.
Very interesting. So yeah, we share something. First of all, we're both entrepreneurs, and we are both dyslexic. And
Yes.
third thing, actually, we both never really exceeded academic performance, I would say.
Yeah.
I'll call it like that.
Definitely. Also, when I started studying, actually, like I did always good enough, but I never really excelled. Also because I didn't see the point of that. Like I didn't want to be like a C or a six student, what they call it here, to have 6 out of 10. I always went for like 7.5, and I thought that is enough. Nobody's ever gonna ask me what I got for an exam when I was studying, and there's so much time that I can use to do other things besides studying. So that's also kind of how I went through my studies.
Well, yeah, sure. Opportunity cost, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, for our audience, so I feel that life coaching is something foreign to a lot of people out there. Can you help shine some light into it?
Yes, so I am a consciousness coach. So I think coaching in general is a very vague thing for a lot of people. It's something we're not very familiar with. It's also something that maybe in our system, at least if I speak for the Netherlands, people know it more and more. General practices also advise people to find a coach. So it's more out there, but it's still not recognized as a serious profession. So that means that anybody can just call themselves a coach. You don't need a diploma or anything. So that's something to work on. But the way I explain it, we're very familiar with psychologists or therapy, where you look at what went wrong at some point in my life. Is there maybe mentally something that needs to be diagnosed, or maybe some traumas from the past? You figure out how to deal with that so that you get your life arranged right now. And the easy way to explain it is a psychologist and a therapist get you until the now, to make sure that you're mentally healthy, stable, and you can do the things you want to do. And as a coach, what I do is to get you from now into the future. So we look at where do you want to go in life, where do you want to be, or who do you want to be, and how can you get there? And there's nothing in your past that can stop you from doing that. So I never look at what happened in the past. Obviously, sometimes things come up and then we'll have a chat about it, but it doesn't matter. What happened yesterday, what happened when you were 4, what happened in high school, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to stop you from doing what you want to do now, today, tomorrow, or next year, or in the rest of your life. And that's pretty tough to grasp. Our minds don't naturally work like that, because there's always the but. This is difficult for me because, but and because, it's all stories that we make up and it doesn't matter. So basically what I do is just ask people, if your life was perfect, if you would be able to do anything you want to do, if you were able to be whoever you want to be, what would you do? Who would you be? We paint that picture together, and then we're going to figure out how you will get there ASAP. So, and that's very exciting. I love doing that.
Yeah, and
Um,
for how I see it, this is exactly what have you done with your life, right? With
yeah,
entrepreneurship.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so I started my business 4 years ago. It's actually my business's birthday a week ago. And I started with working with differently developed youth. So with my social work diploma, I started with that, but it was never really, I wasn't really happy with that. Like, I loved the people that I worked with, I loved what I did, but it just wasn't it. I didn't really have that connection with my work. So also got burned out pretty quickly. And that's when coaching came on my path. So I did this personal development course for 4 days that completely changed my life in any aspect, like the way I looked at life, the way I experienced things, the way that I saw possibilities in the future as well for myself. So right away I signed up to become a consciousness coach myself. I did that, finished the studies and the exams and everything within 6 months. And then I switched. So I rage quit everything I did at that point, which was quite a big decision because I was making good money, doing good work. But yeah, I quit just one day, and I developed student life coaching, because also in that whole process I discovered, or I asked myself the question, like, what do I want for my clients? Like, who do I want to coach? And I discovered that all the coaching sessions with students were the ones that I enjoyed most. And it's also because everything I learned about consciousness, subconscious, your subconscious mind, personal development, all these things, I wondered, when would I have wanted to learn that? And that was definitely during my studies, because I think personal development is so important, and it's such a pity that it's not usually not part of the curriculum, and we don't get the opportunity to do that when we are studying. But I think if we would, then when you're done studying, you're actually done for life. You're done to start. You're done. Wait, when we get that, when you're studying, you're ready to start your life and to start creating the life that you want to live and doing the things that you want to do. So yeah, I decided to just start developing that, and that's where student life coaching was born. So that's my main service.
Fantastic. Well, that's a beautiful story, first of all. And I have to agree that I think students are in the perfect position because they're mature enough to understand the implication of their future, and hopefully mature enough to understand that they can take action
Yeah.
for to develop what they actually want to become, and they're not bounded by their past actions to yeah follow a certain path. They should take initiative, and
For
develop
free.
themselves.
Like that moment when you graduate, you will never be at a point in your life where you have as much freedom as that moment. But right now, I don't think, at least for me, when I was done, I had a diploma and I'm like, okay, now what? What the fuck am I going to do? Like, where am I going to go? What do I actually want? What do I not want to do? Like, I had no clue. And I think you should be done, especially if we all know what we pay to study.
Yeah.
So I think you should know what you want to do and being capable and able to start that right when when you finish your studies.
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly that's where you come in place, where you help people figure it out, what is their vision, who they want to become, where they want to go. And yeah,
Yeah.
so my follow-up question is like, what are the main reasons that encourage the average person, the average student to seek your guidance? Right, you mentioned a sense of directions,
Yeah.
but what else is there?
It usually starts with a struggle. So that's either I have a lot of stress, or I have very low self confidence, or low self love, or I'm failing my exams, or exam fear. It's usually things like that. Um, then I have a conversation with them to just check, because I think that's very important. Check, is there anything psychologically going on? Like, are you in a depression? Do you maybe have an anxiety disorder? Because then you might not be ready for coaching. But if that's not the case, we'll just start. And my coaching is actually not about making sure that you are properly prepared for the exams. We just create a situation where you can do these exams, and then usually within 10 minutes, okay, that's done, and then more things come up. There's always something behind that. We dive into that personal development very quickly in the first session usually, and just start looking at who do you want to be and how can you become that person. Because then if you are yourself, you can do anything. You don't have to be scared that you fail, because you cannot fail if you're you. And you cannot fail if you do what you want to do. And if you know why you're doing this, if you know what you want to do maybe next year, that exam is not going to be scary, because if you will pass it or fail it, either way, you know that you can create the life that you want to live. So it doesn't really matter. And if you can get there, um, yeah, that's an awesome space to be in, obviously. And it's all about that self-confidence and just knowing why you're doing this work. And you will find the motivation and the inspiration to do it all.
Exactly.
So it starts with the simple questions, and but in the end, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're motivated and you want to create a better life for yourself, then coaching is definitely a good option. I wouldn't say the best. Well, maybe it is, but let's keep it with a good option.
Well, that's extremely interesting, and I think, speaking personally, I never been exposed, especially in my student life early on, to a sort of support like coaching that can, where we can go to and get some support, psychological support into our future, like get a sense of direction, understand ourselves. This is something that the educational system, at least in Italy and what I experienced, lacks, and would definitely
I'm
benefit
working on
a
it.
lot of people. Yeah, working on it.
I'm working
I,
on it. Yeah.
work in progress, work in progress. All right, then, next question. What is the biggest fuck up in your startup adventure? What is the one thing?
The biggest fuck up was the way that I started my business, I think. I started with collaboration with a nonprofit organization, which I love, and I still love what they're doing. I did volunteer work for them already for 5 years or something when I started. So I was very familiar with their vision, everything they were working on. And at some point they said, we're growing and we need somebody to work for us full time, but we want that to be an entrepreneur, ZZP'er, like we have it here. So they offered me that job, but then I had to start my own business. I already wanted my own business, so that was no problem. I did that, but what it actually meant, which I figured out in the year after that, was that I was basically working on a full-time contract, but they were paying me as an entrepreneur for not the full 40 hours a week, obviously. And that's also what they said, right? So you can be there if you do your job properly, then you don't have to be there every day. If you just walk in twice a day, but all the work is getting done, then you did your job perfectly. So then you will just, your hourly rate goes up, basically. Yeah, and that sounded very nice. and I really wanted to do that. But then in the months after that, and the way that everything developed, when I was not there for even a minute, I got a phone call like, "Where are you? Why are you not here? Why did you not open the store? Why are you not here to guide the I want to say kids. I always called them my kids, but they were somewhere even
Boys,
older
yeah.
than I was. But you know, the differently developed people that work there. And then I said, well, because they can handle it. Like I trained them well. I gave them all the guidance. I'm one phone call away. I can be there within 10 minutes, but I don't have to be there if I don't have to be there. And then they wanted me to
Sure.
come back. And yeah, at some point I had no freedom. I had no business card. I wasn't allowed to give anybody a business card there because I was working for them. I had a shirt with their name on it. And at some point I got very unhappy with that because they also didn't want to take a new deal I offered with a different structure. So I was like, yeah, now I'm just working for you as an employee, but then with my own business, which I'm not allowed to tell anybody that I have my own business. I'm not allowed to work with my own clients during the hours that your service point is open. So that means that there's no place to go for me. I cannot grow. I don't actually have my own business. I just have less money at the end of the month
Yeah.
for working here, 40, 50 hours a week.
So
So yeah, then
you're sort of being trapped into this contract, into
yeah,
this relationship with this other business that was
yeah.
dragging you down and limiting
Yeah.
your options. Wow.
And that's really about, because obviously I could leave whenever I wanted to leave, but I'm very loyal to people, to other businesses. I always do what I said I would do. And that's also something that I experienced a lot with them. That we agreed on something and then it didn't happen, which was fine because it was still the organization was still at a point where we were developing new things. So that can mean that we have a plan, but then something happens and you go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
fine. But at some point, it happened so often and always where it was the worst outcome for me.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's like I'm fine with taking a step left for you and maybe one step more to the left. But at some point, I'm just walking to the left and I don't want to be there. So yeah, it took me quite some time to make that decision to stop there, but I did. They also were very supportive of that. So no hard feelings. I'm actually collaborating with them again now after all these years. I developed student life coaching. I'm doing something together with them as well. I'm organizing an event at their new location. So we have a very good relationship, and I learned a lot about entrepreneurship there as well. So I'm very thankful for that. But for me personally, as an entrepreneur, that was not a healthy place to
Yeah.
be in. And
Sort
I
of a
think I
toxic
definitely was
relation.
there. Yeah, I think I should have stopped that probably 6, 7, 8 months before I did. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so that would be the biggest mistake, to
Very,
get
very
trapped in a
interesting.
situation like that and to stay there for so long.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well,
So don't do that. For everybody who's listening, don't do that.
watch out with contract that you sign.
Yeah.
Now let's give our audience something tangible. So probably most of us listening are students between the age of like 18 and 25. So
Yeah.
what are the daily tricks you found helpful in stress reduction, especially for students?
Yes. Don't start your day as soon as you get up. So what I did, it's actually something I learned at the Founders Club, one of your meetings. There was this guy who said there's about a 2-hour time difference between when I get out of bed and when I start, working. I used to get up, brush my teeth, get some breakfast, be behind the computer or be on the phone, very quickly. And now what I do, I take about 2 hours. So my alarm goes off, I get up, and then I just see what I do. If that's yoga, meditation, stretching exercises, whatever it is. If it's just hanging around, also fine. But I will have 2 hours for myself in the morning. And this means that I always get up relaxed. When I put my alarm clock in the evening, I don't have to think about when I get up, I have to do this and that, and. So I sleep better. You wake up relaxed. You can start your day relaxed. You have endless time. Like 2 hours is so long, so you have endless time to start your day, to start thinking about what you're gonna do. And as soon as I start, I've been awake for an hour and a half or 2 hours, so I'm actually awake. So that means that I'm also very productive. Yeah. and can work efficiently. Also, find a planner that works for you. A lot of people use like Google Calendar. I hate it. Doesn't work for me at all. Probably also maybe because my dyslexic mind doesn't like anything digitalized. So I have a paper calendar which has on one page the week, so the full week that I can see, with all my appointments. And then the other side of the page, so above it, basically, if you have it open, there's a to-do list, a notes list, and an empty part. So I can write everything down, ideas there. This is something that works very well for me. And yeah, it gives me a lot of peace of mind because I have every day this overview of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So that's awesome. And I would definitely say create a context for yourself. So find a ritual in the morning or in the evening. Both work, because in the morning to start your day, in the evening to close up your day. Yeah, to create the day. What do you want to do today? Write it down. Write down a to-do list. Give yourself a compliment. Do a gratitude exercise. Stuff like that. To yeah, get you in the here and now, and don't get stuck in yesterday, and don't already be running for tomorrow, but be in the here and now, because that's where everything happens. That's where you can control everything. And I think that definitely helps out with managing that stress, surviving. Well, don't survive, start living. I think that's what it's about, right? Stop surviving and start living and enjoying the things that you do.
Great. Very, very actionable tips for everyone. I have to agree. I do use some of those tools myself. I have a planner that I use every day, which is actually Google Calendar. But I do also have sort of a paper thing that I use where I divide it in 4 parts. One of them is like the urgent and important task that I need to tackle. The other one is the non-urgent but also important task. And that way I can structure the importance of the task for each single day, and I know precisely what I have to do, and I don't feel overwhelmed by the amount of things that I should be doing, right?
Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
cool.
awesome.
And so you coach students at Zud University on personal leadership, right? Can you explain to us what leadership is and why is a skill in high demand in the business sector?
Yeah, so it's a training I have been given for the past 2 years at Zuid, actually, where you study. Still talking to them if we can give it next year and the year after. It would be awesome to give it to you as well. But yeah, so leadership is important. I mean, if we just look at leadership in general, in businesses, it's very clear you need a leader. You need to have somebody that knows where are we going and deciding on how to get there. And then from there on, you can level down and see what are the smaller steps or tasks that we have to do to get there. So that's more managing, right? Doing things right and efficient. A leader is overseeing the bigger picture and making sure that we are doing the right things. If we talk about personal leadership, you are actually the leader of your own life. So that means that if you can do that for yourself, have a clear picture of this is where I want to be, this is how I should get there, divided in smaller steps. So this is what we have to do now, tomorrow, and the week after. Have that control, then yeah, you can actually live your best life, do the things you want to do. So I think that's very important, because that's something that we don't really learn. Not a lot, I think, not enough yet. And something that's very underestimated, because we're so busy looking at other people, other businesses, other projects, how everybody else is doing, or we're just put in a certain situation. This is what you should do, and this is how you should do it. Yeah, and that's just something that I, as a person, do not agree with. Like, you have to do the things in your own way, because that's the only right way. So therefore, personal leadership is very important, and there's a lot of competences there, obviously, that can help you with that. So in that training, the personal leadership training, that's also what we talk about for a few hours, like integrity. What is it? What does it actually mean, and what does it mean in your working life, but specifically in your own life? If you talk about yourself, do you have integrity towards yourself? Do you do what you said you would do by when you said you would do it? If you don't do that for yourself, how are you going to do that for somebody else? How are you going to do that for your future self? So that's very important. And again, that's about the here and the now and how you do things today and how you control your things today, what decisions you make, what commitments you set, and if you stick to them. And those are all very important things. If you have that picture clear, if you see that, if you're aware of that, so many possibilities open up for you.
Great. So it starts with awareness and it'll take you in a path where you control yourself, you take yourself accountable for where you want to go and how you want to do it. And then you can probably do it for others and be someone that people look up to for leadership, as sort of a direction giver. Very interesting.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you don't even have to do that. If you start doing that for yourself, the rest will just follow naturally. If you have that integrity towards yourself, then you will have integrity towards others and people will see that as well.
True.
You have that accountability for yourself. So I want to do that for you as well. And I expect you to do that for me because that just happens. So a lot of less effort in a life where you have that awareness.
Great, great. Super interesting. Love that. Well, let me ask you this. What are the three most impactful lessons you learned while working on your startup? It's a deep question, I know.
Yeah. So the first one was definitely the don't get stuck in anything you do. I had that with the example I just mentioned. It can be a contract, but it can definitely also be an idea. I think that is the biggest mistake maybe that startups make. We have an idea, you start with that, and then we get stuck in our idea or in the vision that we had for our business or in the vision that we had for ourselves as entrepreneurs. And realize that every day is a new day and every day you are a new person, right? You develop, you evolve, your business does as well. Um, so yeah, give yourself that space to change direction and to do new things every day. So don't get stuck in anything. Second one is about that accountability. Actually, um, you have to be there for yourself. So don't do it for anybody else. Don't start a business because your dad had a business and you feel like you have to have your own business as well. Or don't start a business because you have this idea of how people look up to entrepreneurs and you want that as well. You have to do it for yourself. Otherwise, I'm never going to say that it's not going to happen, but it's going to be very hard and not a lot of fun. So do it for yourself and stay connected to yourself as well. Because then you will just be in flow and things will happen and there's still going to be struggles and it's a very tough life at times, but it's also amazing and fun and can bring you so much. So keep an eye on that every decision that you make, every step that you take with your business, you do it for you. Obviously your business is you.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
very interesting and definitely something that a lot of people can take home from this episode. Let me ask you, what is currently holding you back in your business? Where are you stuck at the moment?
Well, I don't know if you heard about this pandemic going on, but I think that's definitely it. Yeah, so right now, if we talk about right now, it's the lockdown. We're looking at a curfew as well, so that's really just what's holding me back right now. But let's just put that aside. In a normal world where we can just do our things without COVID, it's a system. And I wouldn't say that it's holding me back, but I am with what I want. So my main goal is for personal development to be accessible for all students, but also definitely for it to be a part of any curriculum at any university at any level. And that's something that our university system is maybe not ready for yet. If I talk to the people at universities, teachers, professors, psychologists, they're all very excited about it, but to actually get it into the system of university, the business of university, because obviously I love all the students around, but I also have to eat at the end of the month. So there's always money involved, and that's what makes it tough at times. But I'm also looking at ways to work around that. I have some new ideas on how to get that goal achieved quicker in a different way, maybe on a level where the university is ready for it. But yeah, that's my main challenge and something that I keep fighting against sometimes. Where
Okay.
I'm like, I'm ready. The students are ready. Like, come on, university system, be ready, please. So yeah.
Cool, cool. All right, yeah. I wish you to get unstuck soon and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, last question for you. What advice would you give to a young person with the dream of building his own company? What is the
This,
one thing that you
yeah.
wish you knew when you started up?
Well, this is going to sound very cheesy, but I would definitely say get a coach. It doesn't have to be a business coach. I did get a business coach and it helped me a lot. But also, I got a lot of coaching from the coaches that I studied with. And I'm not saying that specifically for your business. So it doesn't really have to be a business coach that's going to look at your business and the systems and the whatever, but for yourself, because you are your business. And I believe that the foundation of your business is you, who you are, what you want. And if you have that clear, then automatically you will start translating it. An entrepreneurial mind does the translation for you. So automatically you will know this is my dream, this is what I want to do, and you will find a way to do that with your business. But invest in yourself, in your personal development, in your self care. This can be money wise or time wise. It's either one. Take time, take money for yourself, because it's not going to happen without you. And you are the most important person in your life. You are the most important person if we talk about realizing your dreams and running a business. So yeah, keep an eye on yourself and invest in yourself.
Beautiful words. So, if someone would like to get a personal coach like you, where would they find you?
If they want to find me, you don't really have to be a student because I coach the students that study and the students of life. So as long as you want to learn something, you're happy to give me a call. I'm most active on Instagram. So that is at student life coaching, student underscore life underscore coaching. That's where you can find me. I chat around there every day in my stories. You're always free to send me a DM. You can also send an email to info@vankancoaching.com. I'm also a lot on my email. Yeah, that's easiest. I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I am there, but I miss a lot of messages on Facebook, so that's not my strong suit. So I
Gotcha.
definitely say Instagram. That's the best way to find me. And yeah, and just DM me. We can always have a chat. Zoom for a little bit, see what you want, where you want to go, what type of coaching maybe would be best for you, because obviously there's a lot of different options. So I don't I would never force you into getting coached by me. But yeah,
Perfect,
so
perfect.
free to get in touch.
So if you need to get a sense of the direction, if you feel lost, if you feel like you need a sort of to find a light at the end of the tunnel, well,
Yeah.
link in the description. You'll find all the social media of Katinka, and please don't hesitate to get in contact with her. I have to thank you for taking the time to share your entrepreneurial experience and your passion with us. It's been beautiful. I was super excited. I'm very happy of the result that we got. I'm sure that your tenacity will pay off one day, and ultimately you will have a real impact on the life of many more people that seek guidance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you for having me.
It was beautiful. Thank you very much again. Subscribe to the show by subscribing to the podcast and by sharing what you learned today with someone dear to you. And don't waste your time, invest it by learning something new every day. The next guest is someone that built a successful company because he needed to gain financial independence to continue his studies. Expect to hear about the struggles of managing a language school, as well as how a startup can withstand the damage caused by the pandemic. For the YouTube people, make sure to give a big thumbs up and turn on that notification bell. Subscribe to the channel and follow the Italianpreneur on social media and join our amazing startup community on Slack, where you get the chance to meet the podcast guests as well as entrepreneurs from all over the world. This show is made possible by Patreon supporters. If you want to become one, follow the link. If you found this interview inspirational, I would appreciate a share. Stay tuned. I'll see you next week.